Kuzuzampo, welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Sonampem. Our top stories this week. His Majesty the King graces closing ceremony of the Parliament. Budget hotels still waiting for government to allow them to cater to regional tourists. And Passport Division to clear backlogs in the coming week. His Majesty the King graced the closing ceremony of the 8th session of the 3rd Parliament on 9th December. His Majesty was accompanied by the members of the royal family.
The Speaker, the Home Minister, the Opposition Leader and the National Council Chairperson expressed their appreciation and gratitude to His Majesty the King. They also thanked His Majesty for the initiative of the historic transformations and for leading, guiding and protecting the country and its people all the time. The Home Minister, on behalf of the government, expressed gratitude to His Majesty the King for his extensive efforts towards successfully battling the COVID-19 pandemic. The Home Minister thanked His Majesty for all the noble initiatives undertaken for the well-being of the country and its people. The Opposition Leader also thanked His Majesty for granting citizenship and land kidu to the people. The Opposition Leader, on behalf of the members and people, extended gratitude to His Holiness the Jakhembo and the monastic body for conducting many religious programs for the well-being of the country and its people. The National Council Chairperson regarded the success of the Parliament session to His Majesty the King. Meanwhile, the Speaker in his concluding address expressed the honour and pride to be able to deliberate on the Gelsung Act of the Kingdom of Bhutan.
계랍증기 저팀디 미와 마드린 보치 샤블레 두비 미세다 믹셀도 나준줄로 가네와 사치비 수레임에 수슈니 나치레 차차기라베로 수레드 주위 갑 개갑 공별기 주로와다 개갑기 대송 시대다 직튼 사셰튼들다 라와란체 야다타니나 날렐 하베기 차 주순이 고갑상 쇼침베 수슈니.
The members also offered their commitment and rededicated themselves to serve the Zawasum to fulfill the dreams and aspirations of His Majesty the King. Members of the Parliament offered Teshimelam to His Majesty the King. Meanwhile, the 8th session of the 3rd Parliament deliberated and adopted bills such as the Civil Service Reform Bill, Pay Structure Reform Bill and the Tax Bill of Bhutan, among others. During the joint sitting of the Parliament, the House discussed on the review report of the Performance Audit Report on Farm Road Development and Management in Bhutan and the Performance Audit of Safe and Sustainable Road Transport System. The joint sitting also deliberated on the implementation status of the resolutions from the past sessions. The sitting also adopted the Royal Bhutan Police Amendment Bill after deliberating on several disputed clauses of the bill. Kiladim for BBS News.
While addressing the World Health Organization's Universal Health Coverage celebration, Prime Minister Dr. Lotus Ring highlighted the importance of mental health, affordability and timely availability of health services for all. The Prime Minister was attending the event virtually. This year's Universal Health Coverage focuses on the theme Build the World We Want, a Healthy Future for All. It emphasizes building a strong health system, trust, a healthy environment, investments and accountability.
When we talk about affordability, we always tend to think about curing or taking care of somebody who is sick. I think a lot of focus needs to be paid on preventive aspect, because if we have a good preventive system, that would take care of most of the components of UHC, I would say. And on that front, whenever we talk about UHC or health issues, we get carried away with major health ailments like cancers and NCDs, and we tend not to focus too much on mental health care, which I personally feel that should be an important chapter in every country's health chapter.
The country's non-star or budget hotels are still waiting for a response from the government to allow them to cater to tourists. Currently, only 3-star and above hotels are allowed to do so after a notification was issued in July by the then Tourism Council of Bhutan. Meanwhile, the budget hotels say most have fallen into desperate situations, with some even shutting down operation.
The hoteliers gathered in the capital yesterday to discuss possible solutions. During the meeting, one member suggested modifying the interiors to the standard of a 3-star hotel. Another solution was to soften the 3-star criteria and hire a consultancy to find proper solutions. According to a hotelier in Thimphu, since they can only take in local visitors, her hotel gets only 1 or 2 customers in a month.
Non-star hotels are going through a loss as it is currently the peak tourist season, but we aren't allowed to provide services to any guests. We're facing a lot of hardship. We cannot even keep our staff, pay rent, or pay loan on time. We're extremely worried.
Other budget hoteliers also expressed similar concerns.
So my family has been in tourism business for the last 28 years, and now with this new tourism policy, and since my father has passed down the business to me, and with the new tourism policy, it has gravely affected me. Gravely affected me as my family.
Non-star hoteliers are facing difficulty paying rent to the owners. Even for me, I pay the rent with loan, but I'm worried for how long I can keep doing that.
The hoteliers are hoping that they will be allowed to at least cater to regional visitors, if not international tourists. Meanwhile, according to HRAB, none of the budget hotels have been able to upgrade to 3-star hotels.
So with the SDF, we have seen a decline, firstly in terms of occupancy rates across the country. We have also seen a decline in number of tourist arrivals and also in terms of the rates.
The HRAB says it has been about 4 months since they sent a letter to the government requesting to allow non-star hotels to cater to regional tourists, but there has been no response yet. The Department of Tourism was not available for comments. Sringdiki for BBS News.
The Bangladeshi government has assured Bhutan of LC or letters of credit that Bangladeshi importers use to pay Bhutanese orange exporters. A letter of credit is a payment mechanism used in international trade that guarantees the buyer's payment to the seller from a credit-worthy bank. According to the Agriculture Ministry, due to the ongoing crisis of US dollars in Bangladesh, most of its banks had limited the opening of LCs. Bhutan exports 90% of its oranges to Bangladesh.
The good news that we have today is that the earlier challenge of the letter of credit for dollar payment has been now cleared. The Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh has kindly approved the letter of credit letter of credit for making payments in dollars for our orange export on the request of our Honorable Prime Minister, which means that now our orange exporters can export orange to Bangladesh with the dollar payment.
Despite issuing public notifications on the pyramid schemes being an unfair trade practice, some people have been duped in the country. Therefore, the Office of the Consumer Protection under the Economic Affairs Ministry has developed Pyramid Scheme Identification Guideline to effectively monitor the prevalence of pyramid scheme business in the country.
A pyramid scheme is a fraudulent system of making money based on recruiting an ever-increasing number of memberships or investors. Over the past 2 years, the Office of Consumer Protection received 6 complaints against such practices. Seeking anonymity, a resident in Thimphu narrated how she was influenced by her friend to join QNet business with a promise of reaping monetary benefits. So she accordingly sought financial help from her relatives and arranged 120,000 Newton and paid them to her friend. However, as weeks went by, There was no update on the matter from her friend. Sensing something is wrong, she inquired the Office of Consumer Protection and found out she was duped.
The movie the seat book benidelu 10,000 go she sanjum laptela. Then 10,000 me then 1,000 ramitobe lapchavala.
She told me that I need to invest 10,000 nitum to book a seat. When I told her I don't have that much money, she agreed to pay for me. Then I trusted her with the business. If it was fraudulent, she would not have paid on my behalf. When I discussed it with my husband, he also agreed that it would help us to earn by staying at home. We were hopeful to earn as we had a patient at home.
The nepta go be and the lamitobe mola the English be the online chimnal labi to be no and the anitubni meselabe the analytic.
Through the OCP's intervention, she recouped 60,000 Newton from her friend. But she says her friend still owes her 16,000 Newton. Her friend is one of the members of QNet Business, which is categorized as a pyramid scheme business by the OCP. Like her, some complainants got in touch with the OCP. But a few other customers say products purchased from pyramid scheme businesses have benefited them.
There are many testimonials, many people who had health problem, especially like kidney problem, diabetic, and also some were half paralyzed. These people have benefited, and we have testimonials right from my family only. My parents also used to have joint pains and all. After consuming some of the health supplements, it improved.
Since the implementation of consumer protection rules and regulations in 2015, the OCP banned pyramid scheme businesses like Magnesa, Orions, the Inagik Machines or Kangin water filter business, Crowd One, On Passive, and QNet so far. According to the office, the need of the hour is to protect gullible people, especially housewives, youth and villagers, from falling prey to the pyramid scheme.
There are a lot of elements of deceptive practices, unfair trade practices, and then misleading representations of goods and services, which leads to aggraving the consumer and impact their economic interest. So that's why this pyramid scheme is considered as unfair trade practices.
Therefore, the OCP cautions people to refrain from getting involved in any such pyramid scheme.
Now, because it's based on the recruitment of download members, the prospective members in any geographical locations is going to get saturated at any given point of time. So when this happens, it's going to collapse. So when it collapses, it is the download members who will be affected and they will not be getting the refund.
The OCP also says that any individual who repeatedly influences people to join the pyramid scheme will be dealt as per the law. For Krishna Gale, this is Pemal Harden, BBS News.
In keeping with His Majesty's vision for a smart and innovative nation, the satellite engineers in the country have developed a ground station to collect satellite data from the second satellite. They started developing the station when they were building the satellite. It is expected to be launched next year. From the launch of first 1 kilogram CubeSat to the recent 17.8 kilogram India-Bhutan Sat, satellite engineers said space technology has a promising future.
The Space Division at the Department of Information Technology and Telecom, along with the Indian Space Research Organization, have developed the third ground station at the Ministry of Information and Communications, which will communicate with the India-Bhutan Sat. The current ground station is built for collecting data from the second satellite, India-Bhutan Sat. This time, 11 engineers developed the ground station. In the past, a team of 4 members developed the ground station for the Bhutan 1 CubeSat, and the ground station for the South Asian satellite was gifted by the Indian government.
Ground stations, in common terms, are kind of like the ears that a human has to listen to information and collect data. So for us, we have different ground stations, almost 3 of them here now in Bhutan.
As part of the India-Bhutan Sat, the joint satellite project, we are in process of establishing an S-band receiver ground station. The work started somewhere in April earlier this year, and we are targeting to complete the work by within this year, by end of this year.
For Bhutan, we believe that there are lots of opportunities. We could use it for disaster management, right? I mean, taking stock of areas that are prone for disasters, identifying locations that could be used, post disaster, assessing the damage that has been caused by disasters.
Besides infrastructure development, the division also conducts research related to space technology.
We carry out projects related to space and satellite technology. We also carry out research on emerging trends in this field. And together with it, we also are responsible for providing the policy directives, recommendations, appropriate recommendations on the policy directives that the country should take up.
Bhutan made its first entry into space with the launch of the Bhutan 1 CubeSat, an educational satellite weighing about a kilogram more than 4 years ago, and the second satellite was successfully launched last month. Gezong Wangmo for PBS News.
The hassle to process the ordinary passport booklet will finally come to end. Applicants waiting to receive their passport booklets for quite some time can expect to receive them in the coming week. The Foreign Ministry has received the second consignment of passport recently and is hopeful of clearing the backlog in the next few days.
The Passport Division had received 20,000 booklets of the ordinary passport so far, including the second consignment.
To all the applicants hoping to get their passports, within 7 to 10 days from now, we will be able to print and provide them all.
The division ran out of the ordinary passport booklets in August and started issuing the travel document as a temporary measure. Although the issuance of ordinary passport booklet resumed last month, the division could not issue it to all applicants as there was a huge backlog. The ministry was hoping to receive 50,000 passport booklets by the end of last month. However, the agent had sent only 10,000 booklets in the first consignment. As a result, the division printed just 200 booklets in a day. Bhutan imports passport booklets from Germany.
In the present scenario, around 10,000 booklets have arrived. The need for a passport right now is not more than 4,000. Therefore, we are printing between 400 and 500 passport booklets a day.
When the issuance of the ordinary passport resumed in November, preference was given to those who needed the document urgently. However, the ministry says that many did not turn up after completing the process to collect their printed passport copies. According to the Passport Division, almost 1,000 booklets are not collected as of now. The division has verified 1,700 applicants that are ready to be printed, with around 1,800 due to be verified. There are 2 printing machines in the Passport Division, with additional staff working overtime and on weekends to print 500 passport copies a day. According to the ministry, more than 500 passport copies were printed yesterday, and with an adequate number of booklets in stock, it assures that there will not be any problem in the coming days. The ministry added that a number of countries around the world are facing a shortage of passports because of the shortage of chip for passports. Meanwhile, the ministry says it did not order a huge number of passport booklets in the past, even when the exodus to Australia as the Passport Division was on the verge of migrating from hard copies to e-passports. The ministry now plans to move to e-passport when the digital identity project completes. This is Devik Pradhan for BBS News.
Henceforth, if you see someone dumping waste illegally and report it through the Zero Waste Bhutan app, you will be rewarded with 30% of the fine that is collected from the offender. This is an initiative by the National Environment Commission to curb the ever-increasing waste management issue. The Zero Waste Bhutan app was officially launched on 13th December.
To report an offense, an individual has to install the app and register, and then take pictures of the offenders and report it through the app. Informers can also provide citizenship identity card and mobile phone numbers of the offenders if possible. And even without registering, people can report about accumulated waste at various places, but they will not be rewarded. The app was developed some 4 months ago.
The app will have the outreach capabilities in terms of educating about waste management. The app will also have the penalizing system where all Bhutanese citizens can become waste warriors and report on incidences. We have both the penalties are all there, and also there are incentives, 30% incentives.
Besides, the app will be used for awareness, education, and enforcement purposes. The Commission, in collaboration with Waste Management Committee, also launched an online campaign called Waste Jingle TikTok Challenge. This is to promote and create awareness of waste issues.
This is basically an awareness program where we are trying to involve all the social media influencers to reach out, where we can educate everyone in the country about waste management, especially in terms of the behavior change that is necessary, in terms of changing the mindset towards my waste, my responsibility.
According to the National Waste Inventory Survey 2019, Bhutan generates more than 172 metric tons of waste per day. Thimphu alone generates more than 60 metric tons per day. For Karmawangdi, this is Sringdiki for BBS News.
Bumthang is known as an important cultural hotspot of the country. The district has 26 major festivals and 120 monasteries, of which some are among the oldest in the country. One of the ancient monasteries is the popular Jambelhaka, where a rare 700-year-old festival is performed annually. After being performed behind closed doors for the past 2 years due to COVID, the 4-day festival attracted thousands of spectators this time.
The biggest crowd puller among mask dancers at the festival is the much revered naked dance, or techam. When you mention the word naked dance, almost everyone giggles and shies away from an interview. However, the naked dance of Jambelhaga has a deeper meaning and significance than it is a taboo subject. The sheer number of people gathered for the dance itself speaks volumes about the reverence they have for it.
I've never heard of it, so we were interested to see what's on. And since the COVID, probably the festival didn't happen for the past 2 years, so we were surprised so many people are here.
This is the second time I'm witnessing the naked dance. I wish to get Guru Rinpoche's blessings, that's why I'm putting up with the cold.
I came to get blessing for a fulfilling life and a peaceful afterlife. I've never witnessed the dance before.
People say this is going to benefit us in our afterlife. That's why I came to watch it.
This year, people showed up in record numbers from all across the country, partly because the festival is open to public after 2 years due to the restrictions on gatherings because of the COVID pandemic. It's almost 2 a.m. here at Jambelhaga, and the naked dance is ongoing inside the courtyard of this monastery. And we were not allowed to film this event, so we are doing this stand-up outside the courtyard. And the biggest challenge here for the organizers is that they are not able to control the crowd and people recording the event. There were some incidents in the past where the police and the security people here had to confiscate some mobile phones and cameras. The 4 villages of Chawa, Norga, Nashpel and Jambelhaga conduct the festival. Around 15 laymen from these villages, with their faces wrapped in a white clothing but otherwise stark naked, perform the naked dance for 3 nights.
There will be siblings and relatives among the audience. The discomfort and embarrassment they feel will relieve them of ill fortune. The sisters, mothers, and fathers of the dancers will also be watching the dance. They can make it out who their brothers or sons are from their physical appearance, but they stay put as it is for the well-being of both the dancers and the spectators.
The famed Jambelhaga troupe is said to be instituted by Tiertin Doji Lingpa around the 14th century as prophesied by Guru Rinpoche as a consecration ceremony of the temple. However, the naked dance is believed to be first performed by Guru Rinpoche during the construction of the Nabjil Haga in Trongsa. Sindhu Raja's daughter Tashi Khöden had invited Guru Rinpoche after evil forces obstructed the construction.
When Guru Rinpoche performed the naked dance, the evil spirits were drawn to it, which in turn allowed the construction to continue without hindrance. Then when Guru Rinpoche arrived in Pumthang, he is said to have hidden a text behind the Jo stupa, which contained the instructions on need to institute the consecration ceremony. Accordingly, Doji Lingpa arrived in Pumthang between the 13th and 14th century, revealed the text, renovated the Jambel Haga, and initiated the consecration ceremony.
Locals say abstaining from performing the festival would bring misfortune to the community. Thus, this one-off festival, spanning over several centuries and having its roots in the earliest Buddhist masters, is only going to flourish. Kipchu, BVS News, Pumthang.
That's all for this week. Thank you for joining us.